You are live. Hey, single moms. Hey, hashtag single moms level up. We're in here. We're in here. It's Thursday. We're in here. So you know what I'm gonna do, right? You know what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna go here and check this device, make sure you guys can hear me. Because that's what I do. Even though there's a sound check on the okay. Even though there's a sound check on this platform that I use. Um, Let me turn that down. I actually got my earpiece in and forgot to take it out, so I'm not going to bother to do the case and do all that stuff. I'm just going to let it be and just turn the volume down. But anyway, uh, welcome. This thing is freezing up and everything, and I hope that you all bear with me. Um, I don't know what's going on. We're about to have some bad weather. Some bad weather's coming in, so hopefully I can get through this whole entire whole through this whole session issues, but we've got some bad weather coming in. So it's yeah, what can I say? We're down south. It's something that we kind of used to around sort of around this year, around these storms and stuff. And then of course through the summer, a lot of people may not even know that hurricane season starts in June. It's not November. That's just the peak of the season is in November. But hurricane season really in June. These are things that I didn't know before I moved here. But I actually moving to Texas was was a faith. So I actually was. Of course, it comes back on when I'm doing something. I was trying to get something off the floor, but living in the house that I grew up in, and then my sister had passed away in her sleep in the house, and then my mom passed away, and then there were so many memories in that house. Regardless of the fact that I changed and decorated the house the way that I like, how my environment to be, and it was a whole lot brighter, and everything that made me that was me, my style and everything. Still, it wouldn't have been good for me to stay there because I would still be there, and but I would have this thing, you know what I'm saying? Um, Still had to go through that morning because it happened so fast, so close together and stuff, and I had to process that being a single mom and out on my own, and it was something I had to do. But that's where what I did not do was reach out to my friends that already had kids. So I didn't do that. I kind of just went into let me focus on my kids mode and be there for my kids, and wasn't thinking about my own um, well-being, my own mental state, my own um, I wasn't thinking about all these 5 areas that we're covering this week. I wasn't thinking about that much at all, until I got introduced to this journaling, this way of journaling through a passion and purity class at the church I was attending. And so I was just trying to get break out of a shell, and do some new things. I had started gardening at the time, because now, my sister was gone. I was gardening. That was my way of working through that. Found out that I'm a pretty good gardener. Never thought that because that's part of my allergies, is I'm allergic to the pollen and all that stuff too. But I found out I was a really good gardener, to the point that people were telling me, "Who does your yard?" I was like, "I do." because I had all day to do it, because I wasn't working at the time. So I had all day to do that, cut the bushes. I cut them with pruners, some large pruning scissors. I could have used one of those other type things, but I didn't want to just keep buying tools, because I like buying tools, but I don't always use them. So that was just not, it was a good thing. It was not me stewarding my money well. I wasn't, doing that very well. So I didn't want to keep buying stuff. So I was like, I bought enough. I had done the blinds in the curtains in the house. I had done some roller shades because the kitchen had a wall of windows, and then it met a that had to be a 6 foot, no, it was a 10 foot patio door with an actual 5 foot door that moved, which it did get stuck a lot, and they don't make those doors like that anymore on purpose because of that reason, because it wears out and it gets stuck. But so it was a whole there was a corner, and there was a whole bunch of windows till you got to the garage, and then half of the kitchen on the back side to the backyard had a big huge patio door. I wanted the light in. Yes, a lot of people want to cover it up and whatever because your neighbor's about that close to you, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to let that light in. So I got roller shades. So I had the roller shades. We pulled the roller shades down, had some really nice balances up at the top that added some color. But I liked having all that light in the house. Um, my mom did too, but she put shears because that was like in the 70s when we had bought, when she bought the house. And so that was the thing where it was shears, and then you had drapes, but she had these shears that were just woven. And there were no actual drapes, over that. There were just shears. So there was always light coming through in that room. That was like one of my favorite rooms. It was a kitchen and the family room were like together, no walls separating. They were all in one room. But I did really like that. So today is day 4 of journaling into purpose, a 5-day single moms challenge. And I think it's even more challenging when single moms have to go to work. Working single moms leave home and have to go get kids and still participate in whatever activities they might have after school or what all of that. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm gonna say so. We're talking about relationship goals. So something that I had to do was have time with both of my kids. Have some. Okay, I'm sorry. My doorbell thing was going off, and it's like nighttime, but um, but have some. It was just the motion detectors. Nobody's at the door, but have time with both of my kids individually. I'm moving this screen down. I'm sorry because the thing is in my in my chin. But have time with both of my kids separately on their own, and spend some time with them. So I have to tell you, for for me, going from one child to 2 children um, was a big change. A big change to the point I was like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. you know, like I felt that way all the time, and it wasn't until I just accepted the fact that, hey, I'm gonna be tired because I'm doing a lot to be there for both of my kids, and then have little times to myself when they were with their dad, or my dad, if they were with them, or at a play date or birthday party or whatever. But I'm not one of those moms that will just drop my kids off and leave. Especially if I don't know you, I'm just gonna come and check things out. And if you invite me to stay, oh, me and my daughter are staying, you know, or me and my son are staying. That's just me, watching out for my kids. But we're talking about relationships, and so we're talking about relationships with our kids. That those are probably the most important ones, is our relationship with our kids, because they are the ones that are around us 24/7. So some of the things that I used to do in my relationship with my kids was we had game night. This is when they're young and when you have their attention. We had game night. We had movie night. And then, of course, my kids had, for me, this is what I did. My kids had one night where they could stay up as late as they wanted to. Here's the trick on that. Let me tell you, because my kids were on a schedule, it never worked out. They never stayed up that late. They stayed up as they intended to, and they'd camp out and put all their blankets on the sofa, and we're watching TV all night and this, that, whatever. Child, by the time 10 o'clock came around, 10, 11 o'clock, those kids were passed out. They weren't staying up all night. They thought, they were going to do it, and they always attempted to try to do it, but it always ended up with they go to sleep on the couch, and eventually somebody's going to get uncomfortable and they're going to get up and just go and get into bed. So that was always interesting. And movie nights, a lot of times I would fall asleep during movie night. We'd watch the movies and stuff, and have popcorn and something quick to eat. We would do that, and then we also had the times when we would cook. We would all cook together. I taught my kids how to cook. My son as well. My son's the oldest one, and so I started him at like 6 or 7, and taught him how to cook things like, eggs and things like that, things of that sort. He, of course, wasn't allowed to cook if I wasn't home or wasn't there to supervise. But he was able to, I started him out with simple things. He could cook, he could, boil some water and make, mac and cheese or something like that, the one in a box. And things like that, easy things. But it's those things that my kids remember a lot. They remember the times also. My kids remember the times when I was tired, because when I'm tired, I get a little silly. And I have like a song for like every situation, it seems like. And so I made up this song one time with my kids, both of them. And I made up this song. And it was a good night song. And I made it up. And then like the next night, I'm tucking my kids in and telling them good night, and saying good night to them and tucking them in. And they asked me to sing the song, and I was like, what song? What are you talking about? And they said, the song. I had to really rack my brain as to what that song was, because I did it while I was tired, and I was, like exhausted, tired. And I was like, I don't remember the song. And so, that was one of those things where I had praise it, God help me remember this song. And so I remembered it, and it was really simple. And I mean, I had a little dance to it and everything, but I was tired. But my kids loved the song. Then I sang them their own individual songs, which were actually songs from songs from my childhood, and also they come up on Looney Tunes. And my kids didn't know that, and so when they were watching cartoons one time, one of the songs came up, and I'm like, Mom, is that where you got this song? I said no, but it's there. I was like, it's one of the songs, from my childhood and stuff. So that's it's those moments that our kids really cherish. They really remember. They feel loved. They feel encouraged. They feel supported. It helps them emotionally for us to spend some time with them. So it could be just an hour or whatever. Yeah, you might be tired, but go ahead and watch that movie anyway. You know what though? The kids just appreciate the fact that you attempted to try. And even though you might fall asleep, you're there. And that's all they care about, is that you're there. Your presence is there. And they're like, oh, Mom tried, she works hard. They understand that, but the fact that you attempted and you tried to do something and watch a movie with them and everything, because this is usually on the weekend that we do this, we would have movie night on Friday nights. And, and then occasionally we would go out to the movies. and go watch. I don't know how, but somehow that way I stayed awake. I think it might have just been the popcorn or something. But well, also the fact that I'm sitting up in a chair, because this was like before all these big nice chairs that have heat and they lay all the way back and it's a lounge chair. It was before all that. These were like regular old movie seats. So those times with your kids matter a lot, but we have to remember also our friends as single moms, our friends that we have, and realize that you have other friends that are single moms too. And if you have questions or just want to talk about what what you might be going through, whatever stage your kids might be going through that you're not too sure of because this is new to you, and maybe your friends have already been through all of this through with their kids, and their kids might be older or younger, and share things with each other, that share things with each other and call each other often, especially if you've got friends that have kids that are younger than you, younger than yours. Check on them, because they may be all over the place and just need some grounding and need to know that everything's okay, that they're doing a good job, and regardless of the fact that they're not perfect, they're doing a good job, and the reason they're doing a good job is because they're doing the best they can. And some moms need to hear that, and some of the younger moms need to hear that as well. And they may, every mom feels um inadequate at because of the dynamic of how it is, and all the responsibility being on you, and we can't always keep all the ball. Just not, hopefully you can still hear me. So I'm gonna turn up the volume on this device. You won't hear it because it's in my ear, but okay, so you can still kind of sort of hear me when it goes into that pause mode. But anyway, so check on your friends, family members. Allow your family members to help you out if they're willing to help. Even family members of your kid's dad, if they're willing to help, let them help you. You know what I'm saying? Let them help you. I'm gonna turn it down now because I'm hearing an echo. But let them help you. You know, um, if you guys have that type of relationship and you feel comfortable, let them help you. Let them watch the kids. Let them spend some time with the kids. Their grandparents, if their grandparents are still your kids' grandparents are still alive, then let them spend time with them as well. Um, it's okay, to take that will allow you to take some time for you, and or maybe even to spend with other kids if your kids don't have the same dad. It's going to give you some time to do some other things, to do some different things, to try some new things. So do those things as well. And something that I did with my kids was I had them to do, that love language quiz. Um, if you don't know what it is, I'll post it in the group. But there's a quiz that you could take and have your kids take the quiz if they're old enough to do this, which I would say um, about 13 or 14 years old. This quiz will work. Maybe earlier than that, that how your kids and their comprehension of these questions. It's some questions that you ask and you find out what your kids' love language is. So I found out what my kids' love what languages are, and I tried to start speaking to them and loving them in a way that they can receive the love from me. Because I'm giving them love in the way that I like to receive it, and they don't receive it at all because that's not their love language. So I did that with that quiz, and did that for the kids. Hey, Shanika, thank you for watching live. Um, so I did that with my kids, and then I did that with a couple of the guys that I had, you know, dated. I did that quiz to find out what their love languages were. You know, like the guy I'm dating now, I did that quiz as well to find out what his love language was, because you know guys don't necessarily uh, chime into what their emotions that much, or their reasoning behind their actions, or how they don't chime into that very much. So having that, asking those questions, you'll find out things that like you thought it was this way, but it's actually another way. And that's interesting. And just to know somebody's love language and how they feel loved is a great benefit. There's no exact chart to anything. It's just to give you some insight is what these quizzes are for. And so it helps a lot. So another thing in our relationships is obviously like the relationships with other people outside of our friends and family and our children. And so of course with coworkers, of course with your, you know, what maybe with your boss, with people in like the community, your neighbors. um when I this is the neighborhood that I grew up in. I know it was back in the 70s, that I grew up in, where the neighbors knew each other. You know, nowadays we don't even speak. You know, we don't speak. We don't do nothing. None of that. When I came to Texas, I was a little shocked that the Southern hospitality was not so hospitable. But I come to realize that there's a lot of people that are not from Texas that are here that don't know what Southern hospitality is. But if you show it, it will come back to you. So this is what I did when my kids and I first moved to Texas. We didn't we didn't have a place to stay. We were staying at my cousin's house until I found a house. And so I was driving in his car, and his neighbors would see me. So I started waving. And I started waving. I started waving. So we lived there at my cousin's house for about 3 months until I found a house, because I it just took that long for me to find a house. And eventually, my cousin, one time we were all in the car together, and oh no, we weren't in the car together. Was when we moved out, and then he started driving the car that I had been driving for 3 months. His neighbors kept waving at him. And he's like, I don't know what's happening, but and he mentioned it that his neighbors keep waving at him. I said, oh, I was waving at your neighbors the whole time. The whole time I was there. He's like, you were? I was like, yeah, we wave at each other all the time. I was like, I don't know these people, never talked to them, but we just waved. That to me, that's a Southern hospitality. Just wave at your neighbors, you know. I dare you to start that. That's gonna be your assignment for you can't really necessarily do it tonight unless because people can't see you, but do it tomorrow. Do it tomorrow in the morning. Start waving at your neighbors. Start waving at your neighbors. Do it for a whole week straight and start waving at your neighbors. Once these people will start waving back at you. And it was just a thing, and so I do that here in the subdivision I live in now, and I did it in the subdivision I lived in before. And so the kids are interesting, because the kids obviously will go and make friends and go right around the block, and they find out there's some kids that live around there and they want to hang out with the kids and stuff. But the parents, we tend to not do that. So one of the things that my kids and I used to do in the subdivision we lived in before this one that we're at now, we used to go bike riding a lot in that subdivision. And so we would meet up with neighbors. They'd see friends from school that they didn't realize lived in their neighborhood, or moved to their neighborhood. It was all kinds of interactions, and it was a more enjoyable experience in life. It's like, okay, my kids are out playing. What do I do with myself? And of course, we tend to go straight for the let me just do a couple loads of laundry. Let me, clean some of this. Let me do that. Let me cook this. Let me do that. Let me do this. But don't forget to relax. Sit down and relax for a little while, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour. Do something for you too. Everything doesn't have to be absolutely perfect in the house. I strived for that for a long time and was just wearing myself out, you know. I had to start relaxing a little bit so that I wouldn't be just pushing myself so doggone hard. Um, and that's just my work ethic. That's the way that I have always been. Um, I was trying not to not to cough. I needed my allergy medicine is wearing off. Mm. Oh, that's better. Thank you. So in our relationships, we need to set some goals. Set some goals to introduce yourself to some of your neighbors. You know, say hi, wave at some of your neighbors. Set some goals to maybe introduce yourself to some of the parents at your kids' school. Um, when you go out and take your kids out to these activities, speak to other parents and make some relationships. Have some friendships with these people. Have friendships with your neighbors and be neighborly. Be friendly to people and increase your relationships. And I'm talking about including to your family and your friends as well. Pick up the phone and call people. Say, hey, I'm just checking in on you, how you going, and talk with, have conversations with people and check in on people. In 2020, we did that a lot, and we realized that we were not connecting enough. Even though we had all of our friends and everything, we were way too busy, and not making time or scheduling time to check on our friends, check on our neighbors, check on the teachers at school. How you doing? You good? A volunteer at the school if you have the time to do that. I You'll find a lot of things that they used to. I don't know if they're really letting people do that now with everything that's going on and how society's just changed so much. I don't know how much they're allowing the parents to come in and volunteer anymore. But there's other places that you could do that. You could do that at the kids, football practice. I was team mom for my son's football team. I think 3 or 4 times, because my son had been playing football since he was 5, all the way through a senior in high school. There was just one year that he didn't play football, and that was when we moved here to Texas, because in 6th grade they don't allow you to play football for the school. There's a team outside of school, but uh, they were just meeting at times that I couldn't do it, because I was working retail and I worked on weekends, so it didn't work out. So he had a year off, but that was the only year off he had. So anyway, this is your assignment for today. For tomorrow, for the whole week next week. I want you to wave at your neighbors. When you drive past the house and a neighbor's out, wave. When you drive, wave at your neighbors for a whole week and see how many of them start to wave back. And don't worry about if they wave back at you or not. Just keep waving. Just keep waving. Do it for a whole week and watch what happens. Eventually, these people are going to start waving back at you, and you can form some relationships. And I'm saying this because I wasn't going to say this, but a couple days ago, uh, um, my daughter and I were coming home from I don't know where we were coming home from, because it just kind of threw me. And we were coming home and we were coming around the corner, coming around to our house, and we saw the police and the police caution tape in front of one of our neighbors' houses. Um, we have a Facebook group, and so I went into the Facebook group to see if somebody had put in there what was going on, because it is in my section of the subdivision, and I was a little concerned, and so somebody informed us that um, a body bag was taken out of the house, and the husband was taken out of the house with possibly in cuffs, with his hands in bags. So I was like, oh my God. Like I said, check on your neighbors, especially the elderly ones. Some of them are retired, some of them are their health might be failing. I have another neighbor that his wife is now completely blind. She, when they first moved here, she was losing her sight, but now I think she's completely blind, so she's having a hard time adjusting to that, and it's taken a toll on him. And so I've reached out and started taking dinner over to them, and calling them and taking him to his appointments when I can. Do these things for your neighbors, because it's it's going to bless you. It's going to bless you to be kind to people, and to nurture relationships with your neighbors, with your family, with your children. That's going to help too, because my kids and I, we talk a lot. Of course, they don't tell me everything, because, that's just the dynamic of kids and parents. You don't tell them everything. But, that they do talk to me. About the things they want to talk to me about. So we want to nourish our relationships, and make time for them. Call some people, you know what I'm saying? Call some people, spend some time, sat down with my kids for, I know I'm a little, I apologize, down a good 8 years. We sat down at the table and had dinner together, and we talked. No devices at the table. They still know that. We sit down at the table, no cell phone devices, off, off, off. And every now and then, yeah, the TV's on, but because we wanted to start to watch a movie that was really long. But do this, do this, and write it in your, you know, that is crazy. You can't hear me. It goes in and out. I'm so sorry. So here's your assignment. Your assignment is to set at least one goal. There we go. Set at least one goal. Set at least one goal to spend a day with your an activity you could do with your kids. Wave at your neighbors, and reach out to one of your friends, one friend a week. Do that. These are your three goals. And the benefits of those would be that you're going to find out that you're not alone. That you're not alone, and that people care about you. And that's an awesome thing for single moms, to have that feeling, and be aware that you're not alone and people care about you. Because that's a lie from the pit of hell that comes up, against single moms a lot. We are not alone. We are not alone. So I apologize for this in and out. I'm going to get off of here because, like I told you in the beginning, we got some bad weather coming in, and that's what the issue has been in the past couple nights. Is that it's been slowly coming in, and it's messing with things. So anyway, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hashtag single moms level up. Much love. And I will put that link for the 5 love language quiz in the Facebook group. And I'll put it on the YouTube page as well. Thank you guys for watching live. Thank you for watching the replays. Like and share, and put your biggest takeaways from any of these sessions, and let me know. Talk to you soon. Have a good evening, night, morning, wherever.